In Sesko this weekend, a player, of course, they looked at signing before Victor Gyökeres. Well, as for Sesko, he chose Manchester United over Newcastle, as we know, and in his first interview with the club, he told us why.
First of all, of course, because of the club. It's just a historical club that is unbelievable. For me, the team is great. It's getting better and better, and that's why also there is just stuff that it made you like come there. You know, it gives you this already kind of, let's say, energy that you want to be part of. And yeah, I think it's just a great project in general, and yeah, can't wait to start, definitely.
Did Ruben Amorim play a part in that decision, obviously wanting to come here and play for him?
Of course, I think this is a really important part in general in football. Great guy, great coach, and so we're going to start, it's important.
Right, Dharmesh, so Sesko in, does that mean Hojlund out?
It doesn't look good for Hojlund with regard to his Manchester United future, but there are clubs that are interested in him, not least AC Milan. They remain in talks with Manchester United over the signing of the Danish international. Milan, for their part, they want to do a loan deal with an option to buy. I think Manchester United would prefer a permanent deal for Rasmus Højlund, or at least have some sort of permanent element attached to any kind of loan deal. And I think they would probably consider offers of around £40 million. Now, that could come in two forms. If they were to sell him now and get £40 million, I think they'd consider it. If it was a loan with an option, then maybe they can be quite creative with it, a loan fee, and then the rest of that £40 million made up in an option price later on down the line. I think it's being made clear to Højlund now. I don't think he's under any illusions that maybe Manchester United do want him out. He was an unused substitute in United's pre-season friendly against Fiorentina at the weekend. Ruben Amorim actually chose to play Mason Mount in a false nine ahead of Rasmus Højlund.
That's a massive sign, isn't it?
It is. And I'm sure he's aware of everything that's going on. He's clearly seen Sesko come into the club and him not getting much match time, even though he was the only striker that was available to them that day. But anyway, he has said he wants to stay and fight for his place. But it's now becoming abundantly clear that he's joined the likes of Jadon Sancho, Garnacho, Malacia, Antony, and previously Rashford as players that United would want to get out of the club.
So the famous five became six, well, it became four, didn't it? Because
it's back to five again.
Back to five, yeah. Goodness. All right, what about any more people joining United? Anything else?
Well, we should say that following Sesko's arrival, I think that the focus, even before Sesko arrived, was on sales. Not necessarily making those sales before players come in, but having an assurance and a knowledge that before the end of the window, some of these sales would happen. We've mentioned Rasmus Højlund and AC Milan. Borussia Dortmund still pushing to sign Jadon Sancho. You've got Chelsea and Alejandro Garnacho. Manchester United are definitely expecting a formal offer from Chelsea for Garnacho. Real Betis, yes, they are still trying to sign Antony, however difficult that deal looks. So that would be the priority. However, rather like I said about Arsenal before, if a unique market opportunity was to come along in the remaining 3 weeks of this window, Manchester United want to be in a position where they would be able to do this unique market opportunity. Now, throughout this window, we've talked about areas that they wanted to strengthen, which they have done, particularly in the front line. It's an entire new front three. But central midfielder, talk of that has not gone away. And I don't know whether it's been accentuated, even though United have played OK during pre-season. Some of the criticisms aimed towards them have been the makeup of that central midfield. They are interested in Carlos Baleba from Brighton and Hove Albion. They like the player a lot. They've explored the conditions of a deal. It is going to be a very, very difficult deal to do for many reasons, not least Brighton have got no intention to sell. They don't want to sell. They're under no pressure to sell. He's still got 3 years left on his contract. They've got an option for a further year, and they would want to charge. I mean, some people have even talked about touching 100 million here. So
that's exactly what United need, though, isn't he?
You could argue that that is what they would need. But as far as Brighton are concerned, not for sale, do not want to sell. However, he hasn't featured since July, mid-July, in pre-season, but that's because of a minor knee issue. And I think a lot of people made more of that when he missed the last game when the United interest came, but it was for the same reason that he'd missed the previous 2 games as well.
Dharmesh, everybody knows that there are 5 players at United surplus to requirements. Does that put United in a really weak negotiating position?
Yes and no. I mean, I don't think it's any secret that Manchester United wanted to do business for these players, but the way that football works now in the finances, it's not just about transfer fees. It's about getting wages off the books as well, so that they can go into the market and perhaps do deals using how PSR works. Amortised over a length of a contract is how the transfer fee would be paid. So more and more, if players on high wages, that has become almost as important as when you get the transfer fee as well, even though United would want to maximise the transfer fee. But clearly, of course, when it almost made public knowledge, not directly from the club, of course, that you want to sell 5 or 6 players, clubs might say, well, we'll just wait then. Wait towards the end of the window and then United will get desperate. Even though Ruben Amorim has said all the right things publicly, if that doesn't happen, we'll reintegrate them into the squad. It's not a problem. But clearly, they want them out. They want to maximise their money. They want to get the wages off the books so that maybe, just maybe, later on in the window, they might just go back in to bring another player in.
Yeah, it's got me going. Gianluigi Donnarumma, could he be leaving PSG for real?
It's certainly looking that way. PSG faced Tottenham Hotspur in the Super Cup on Wednesday, and Gianluigi Donnarumma has been omitted from that squad for PSG. Today, PSG announced the signing of a keeper. That's Lille's Lucas Chevalier. He's joined PSG. He hasn't joined to be number 2. He's joined there to be the number 1 goalkeeper. And these latest developments, the fact that he's been out of the squad and that they brought in this new keeper, has thrown into major doubt the future of Gianluigi Donnarumma at PSG. Now, I've been told today that he will only leave if a project is seen as the right fit and he will not be forced out. Now, earlier on in this transfer window, it was understood that Manchester United had kept an eye on his situation. That's it, amid doubts over Andre Onana's future. However, Onana has now Onana's future training, and as it stands, he's expected to stay at Old Trafford. There are at least 2 other Premier League clubs who have explored the conditions of a potential deal for Donnarumma.
I bet they have.
That's via intermediaries, so we don't think there's been direct club-to-club contact as yet, but significantly, Donnarumma has entered the final year of his contract now. So PSG, if he's not going to sign a new contract and he is on massive, massive money there at the moment, they will probably want to do some sort of deal. Now, if you look at Donnarumma's situation, the amount of money he would be on, PSG would see that as a win just to get those wages off the books. So it might not mean necessarily a club would need to go in with a massive transfer fee. As long as they paid the wages, you'll be looking at, close to 15 to 20 million pound saving straight away for PSG. So definitely one to keep an eye on, because it looks for all the money that Donnarumma's going to move, and for his own sake, he probably does need to move, because there's a World Cup at the end of the year. He's going to need to be playing.
Cool, what a story that is. All right.
Brighton have reportedly rejected Manchester United's opening bid for Carlos Baleba, which included a player as part of the deal. United are now looking for midfield reinforcements, having so far focused on attack with the arrivals of Matheus Cunha, Bryan Mbeumo and Benjamin Sesko, and have identified Baleba as their top target. According to the Standard, Man United launched a player plus cash swap offer for the Cameroon international. The Red Devils offered Toby Collier in a part exchange deal for the defensive midfielder. This comes following recent reports suggesting the Seagulls would only begin to consider a bid worth over the $115 million they accepted for the sale of Moises Caicedo to Chelsea in 2023. And Fabian Herzler's side has insisted Baleba is not for sale this summer. Nevertheless, United remain undeterred and are planning to continue pushing for the Cameroonian signature. Baleba missed Brighton's last 3 pre-season games, having not played since mid-July. But it was reported the midfielder has been struggling with a knee injury picked up in training and was with the rest of the squad on Saturday to watch his teammates in action against Wolfsburg. Brighton, though, are still preparing for Balebas's potential exit with a succession plan. Diego Gomez and Malik Yalkouya are already posing as potential successors in midfield. Jack Hinchelwood, Matt O'Reilly, Matt Weaver and Yassine Ayari are also pushing for more minutes this coming season.